Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for coming. And it's Sunday night, so often people are not so keen to join these things, but it's really good to all get together. I think just want to make a quick couple of notes. So especially for the people watch on YouTube afterwards and on the Bitchute channels, that the website is iamfree.co.za. And it's a very comprehensive website. And the books are all free online, including some wonderful audio books, which you can download, listen, or print them out. A lot of people print them out and put them on and ring bind them if they can't get them in their countries. So we have a short time for questions and sharing after the session where people can, if they choose, open their mics and put on their videos. And so it's just suggested that, get onto the I Am Free website and go through the material slowly, because eventually everybody really has to get this material so that we can actually, set ourselves free, work with our own I Am presence and make the ascension. So there's where to begin at the top of the website there. You'll see it. And donations are gratefully received, but certainly not compulsory, obviously, but that it actually enables me to travel and do things that I need to do. So I'm really grateful for that. And the links are in the description below when it's loaded up to the YouTube. And then I did ask Jen if she would mind reading, if she was happy to read. She said she was, the opening invocation. And I thought, Jeff, if they're around at the end, it'd be lovely if you could read for us at the end, if you're happy to do that. But thank you very much, Jen.
Thanks, Anthea. Beloved presence of God, I am. It is thy life and intelligence that enables me to read and comprehend and absorb that which is required of me. For life, I am so grateful. Beloved Master Kutumi, I ask for your feeling and your capacity to use this instruction for God's glory and mankind's comfort. We thank you. And now, great I Am presence, take me within thyself. There instruct me and cause me to retain the full memory of these inner instructions. Thank you.
Marvelous. Thank you so much, beloved Jen. All right. So the topic, as we know, is karma and the universal laws that govern our lives. And probably one of the most fundamental of all the statements is from our beloved Saint Germain, where he says, it cut off at the side, I can see. Where our attention is, there we are, and what we focus on, we bring or force into our lives and world. And so that's why they're constantly telling us, the beloved Ascended Masters, to keep our attention and our focus and what we think, on what we actually want. And also to realize that our thoughts are every bit as powerful as our words. In fact, often more powerful, because they can really start taking on the feelings which bring them into manifest form. So we have to watch them very carefully there. We get told again and again by the Ascended Masters, we need to nip them in the bud if they're not good. And also I just tell my mental and emotional bodies to be quiet. Literally, I talk to them, be quiet. This lifetime we are serving with the I Am presence, and we are only having good, pure thoughts. So, I mean, not to say that I'm perfect, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I do constantly try to manage my mental and emotional bodies, realizing that they are actually the maker of my world. So to keep, my mental and emotional bodies under the control of my I Am presence. It's obviously my first thing in the morning that I like to say. And it's a very good thing, hand it all over to your I Am presence, literally, as you open your eyes. Mighty I Am presence, this is your day. Take command of my thoughts and feelings, words and actions, and produce your perfection throughout the day. And so it's just a wonderful thing. And then we start walking along this path really to our ascension, our final lap home, really. And we reap less and less of that karma that causes so much distress in our lives. So the great importance of taking time daily, as beloved Kuthumi says, to be holy. And that means morning and night, sitting in a quiet time of meditation and also doing the decrees, which the Ascended Masters have taught us are so important, which we will do in a future session. So we break the universal laws that govern our lives, and we literally reap the results, because as we sow, so we reap. And as we're told by the Ascended Masters, with mathematical precision. So we continue to live lives of struggle and discord that we have created. It's never about the other. It's always about ourselves. So, and unless it's transmuted and forgiven through the use of the violet flame, which is the predominant ray now for the next 2,000 years, and a lot is written about it, and we've got so much information. We will do another session on it at a later stage, just focusing on the violet flame and what Saint Germain has actually brought us really to redeem our planet and redeem, all the misuse of light that we have ever created. And if we think about it, we've had thousands of lifetimes over millions of years on this planet. So we've got that much karma to be redeemed. But now we have the solutions. We have this wonderful opportunity to make our ascension this lifetime, in one lifetime. I mean, we've never apparently had this. We've never before have we had so much help and so much light, cosmic light coming to assist us. And so it really behooves us all to take full advantage of it. And as the Ascended Masters say, a half-hearted approach brings half-hearted results. And as we know, that's the same with everything in life, isn't it? So if we want to really work with our iron presence, which is the actual, the whole reason for living, and make our ascension, we can do it this lifetime. So the choice is ours. And we warned. Oops, I hope you can hear me now. So I've just had an unstable internet say a little notice. I hope it's all right. Anyway, we were warned not to pick and choose what suits us, because the Ascended Masters have given us the perfect formula, the very same methods that they used. So it's really worth, listening to what they say and actually following what what they suggest. So this is what Saint Germain says. He says, all is under direct, exact, and perfect law. Every experience of consciousness has a former cause, and everything at the same instant is the cause of a future effect. So if a man has injured a woman in one life, he is certain to be reincarnated in a feminine form and pass through a similar experience until he realizes and experiences that which he has caused another to endure. The same thing is true if a woman be unjust or injures a man. This is the only way by which one is compelled, or rather compels himself, to experience both the cause and effect of everything he generates in the world. So that's really very comforting to know that we can never blame another. It's always, sometime, somewhere, somehow, we have set up a cause, and what we are experiencing is the effect of it. It might be from many lifetimes before, and often they bring life, the same souls together again and again, we're told. So this is what the great divine director says. Do you think, beloved ones, really anything ever happens by chance? Surely you cannot think that. Even in the smaller things, there must be a cause back of every single thing which you do in the outer. So you will see by that why we should not judge, why we should not condemn, why we should be firm and unyielding in our stand to the light, the harmony, and the refusal to listen to discordant, destructive things, regardless of what they may be about. That's quite a tricky one, because often people don't really understand that, and even we can get enmeshed in listening to other people's stories. All right, so this is a short one, a lovely one by the beloved Mahachohan on cause and effect. This is an excerpt from the Private Bulletin, Book 1, from the Bridge to Freedom publications. And it's from our beloved Mahachohan, now the Cosmic Holy Spirit, Aeolus. It's on cause and effect. The mixing of certain foods together forms a very pleasant and edible concoction, which is a source of delight and satisfaction to your families and friends. You set up a cause by mixing those various individual foods, and the ultimate result will be the effect you desire. In this very simple explanation, you have the law of karma, cause and effect. You know before you begin what the effect will be, and you proceed with assurance that if you adhere unerringly to the necessary rules and regulations, your ultimate presentation will not only be beautiful but tasty. What you have done in your culinary experience, you can do equally well in life. If you would put the proper qualities together, you would have the same effect with the same degree of accuracy, and you would have a desirable manifestation as you had in your cooking. But because the qualities of fearlessness, confidence, strength, and purity are unseen qualities, mankind feels that they can put a little less or a little more of one or the other into the original cause and still have a desirable effect, where no wise person in a culinary department would tamper with an intricate recipe and expect perfect results. You may draw as much love, as much fearlessness, as much light, or as much happiness as you desire into any picture that you may hold in your mind, whether it is for the strength and endurance of someone you love, or for the freedom of the whole race. And if you continue to reject all unpleasant feelings and thoughts from your mental and emotional picture, even as you would reject poison or any other unpleasant substance from your cake, you would be successful in your manifestation. If you were preparing a special dish for your family, you would not allow anyone to drop any form of waste matter into it. You would know, without my saying so, that the result would be imperfect, and yet human beings, in drawing a perfect picture for their loved ones or for their house or their business, allow any passing thought that proceeds from the ignorant minds of men to flow into that form and pollute it. Remember that the effect will carry the taint of that which you allowed to enter your cause, either consciously or unconsciously, for that is the law. In the realm of the Ascended Masters, they too follow the same law that is being worked out with such difficulty in the third-dimensional world as cause and effect. The Theosophical world has called it karma, and it has become a mesh of intricate design which has caught the soul rather than an exquisite proof of the creative power focused within each human heart. In the Ascended Master octave, if effect did not proceed from cause, the Masters would have no power to follow through any design. But as the human mind is thoroughly convinced that 2 and 2 make 4, so does the Master know without question of a doubt that effects will follow causes set up within his heart and mind consciousness. Anyway, just such wise words from the beloved Mahachohan. All right, so I showed this in the workshop. It was a clip, I sort of took it out of another longer one, but it just is a really good explanation of how we need to watch our thoughts.
Once upon a time, a person went to Gautam Buddha seeking advice on how to control his emotions. The person was struggling with anger and frustration, and he was looking for a way to manage his emotions better. Buddha smiled and asked him to sit down. He said, "I will tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a king who ruled a prosperous country. One day, he decided to visit the neighboring kingdom. He had heard that the king of that kingdom was famous for his wisdom. When the king arrived, he was welcomed with great honor. The king of the neighboring kingdom had prepared a grand feast in his honor. During the feast, the king noticed a fly in his soup. He was disgusted and ordered his servant to bring him another bowl of soup. The king of the neighboring kingdom saw this and said, "Your Majesty, please do not be angry. It was just a small fly. It does not matter." The king replied, "I cannot tolerate such things. Even a small fly can ruin my mood. The king of the neighboring kingdom smiled and said, "Your Majesty, allow me to give you a piece of advice. It is not the fly that ruined your mood, but your reaction to it. You have the power to control your emotions. Do not let them control you." The king realized the wisdom in these words and returned to his kingdom. From that day onwards, he started practicing the art of not reacting to situations that would previously trigger his emotions. He found that he was able to maintain his composure in challenging situations and was able to make better decisions. The power of not reacting is an important lesson for all of us. We often react to situations without thinking, and this can lead to negative consequences. Reacting to situations with anger and frustration can damage our relationships with others and hinder our ability to make clear-headed decisions. However, it is important to understand that not reacting does not mean that we should suppress our emotions. Emotions are a natural part of our human experience, and it is important to acknowledge them. Instead of reacting impulsively, we should take the time to process our emotions and respond in a thoughtful manner.
Yeah, it is good to do it like that. It is, and that really requires reining in those thoughts and feelings. And for me, it just takes practice. I mean, it's just practice every day. And so this is how our thoughts and feelings actually affect the world. And it's just really good, I thought, from more from a scientific point of view.
Law in physics that basically says that when you have energy that is vibrating at a particular frequency, within 17 seconds, other energy like that will be attracted to it. So if I'm having a positive thought or a negative thought, then what happens is that energy is attracted to it. I have other thoughts that are like that thought. So if you do that 17 seconds, for 68 seconds, then momentum begins to occur. Let's say that I'm normally, all of our emotions have a frequency to it. So if I'm in despair or anger or worry, all of those are lower, denser frequencies. You get into things like contentment, happiness, joy, love. Those are higher, faster frequencies. So let's say that I normally live in contentment. And that's my set point, because that's where I live. I think about that all the time. That's what my makeup is, that sort of thing. So I'm driving down the highway. All of a sudden a car cuts me off, and I get angry. So now I'm in the lower, denser frequencies. And so then I go back to the office, and I'm telling all my colleagues, here's what happened. This knucklehead cut me off. Go home, tell my wife that. What am I doing? I'm vibrating angry energy. So I go to the supermarket, and there is somebody in line. I have 3 items, and I'm getting in line, and somebody ahead of me has 38 items. And the guy that's running the cash register, it's his first day, and he's not doing very well. He's very slow. Is that a coincidence? No, it's something for me to get angry about. So I'm attracting into my world whatever it is that I'm vibrating.
It's just so well said that. It's spot on, isn't it? Because whatever we sow, we reap. So he's reaping the more of the same, of the feelings that he sent out. Saint Germain says, "Do not allow appearances to affect you. I say this to all of you, beloved students. Please carry this message everywhere. There is nothing in the outer world that warrants you becoming irritated, sad, depressed, arrogant, fearful, all those lower frequencies." So it's just like this. I love this from Rumi. He says, if you are irritated by every rub, how would your mirror be polished? It's just so spot on. There's some lovely words from beloved Rumi. And so this is also really important. And this is what the Ascended Masters reiterate over and over: never gossip. As the great divine director says, anything negative is actually gossip, whether it's about people, places, conditions, things, governments, or whatever it is. So while I know we're surrounded by these changes in government and what have you worldwide, if we see things are not right, we need to send a lot of light, because a lot of light is needed now as our world comes into these great changes and a wonderful new golden age is dawning. So we're in very exciting times, I believe, but we need to make sure that we don't add to the shadows of the world by repeating negative things, because that's all we're doing. We're just making more shadows. And they say negative people seek empathy from others to reinforce their negative pattern. And that's exactly what they do. They share this, what they think are sad stories. Meanwhile, they're actually just lessons that they've created to learn from. So we need to try and change the subject quickly. Saint Germain says he would rather have 1,000 arrows come at him than say one negative thing about another. So there it is, just so importantly, it's so important that we just manage our thoughts and feelings and keep them good. I love this. This is the 4 Agreements by Michael Rees. He says, first, be impeccable with your words. So really try always to say good things, be truthful, etc. Don't take anything personally, because otherwise, Saint Germain says, if we take things personally, we've got work to do on ourselves. So don't make assumptions, because I know that's easy when the mind, we're on our own and what have you, and we're quiet. And often we go into these times, well, I do sometimes, where I make assumptions and I have to nip it in the bud. And we always do our best. Obviously, we try to do our very best in everything, because we're using the pure divine energy from our own I Am Presence for our life. So we need to train ourselves to have no opinions about others. How's that? I remember reading that in the Ascended Master Bob's book from the I Am Discourses. It's just, and it struck me, he thought, no opinions about others. It doesn't mean to say that we sit on the fence and we don't do anything. Because what do they say? It takes for evil to prevail. What does it say? I think a good man doing nothing allows evil to prevail, or something along those lines. That is it. But we need to send light. And if we judge, we are judged. Absolutely no question about it, whatever we send out. And there's another one, lovely one from Rumi, when he says, when I am silent, I fall into that place where everything is music. And there it is. It's just lovely, that quiet time with our own I Am Presence. This is what the beloved Mahachohan says about the importance of harmony. He says, holding to the law of harmony, keeping an aura of undisturbed and sustained peace, and expressing self-control, not anger, irritation, self-pity, fear, pride, or sadness, is a prerequisite on the path to ascension. And we will be tested. We know we're tested, because how do we know if we're master of it, if we're not tested? So we get tested again and again, all of us. So if we find ourselves in a negative situation, or we hear negative things being said or actions taken, or we keep regurgitating negative thoughts and feelings of old patterns, we need immediately to call to our Iron Presence to take command of it all, hold its dominion over our thoughts and feelings, words and actions, and produce its perfection. And so it will do. But then our job is to still them, to still the mental and emotional bodies, and then watch the magic happen. It does happen, honestly. So we get tested until we've learned our lesson. So every challenge we go through is a test that we have created. That's how we get initiated. So how do we know if we are master? Exactly as I said. So once you conquer your thoughts and feelings, your darkness, I forget what it was about. I can't really see that. What does it say here? Hold on. Once you conquer your selfish self, all your darkness will change to light. I love that. It's so good. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but I've got a little black box here of saying I'm talking. Right. So this is very good. And I should always share this at the workshops, because this really is a very good example of how we add to the collective consciousness. And we need now so importantly to add to that collective consciousness of positivity and those feelings of victory of the light. I mean, the Ascended Masters have been working ceaselessly for eons of time, for this time now, when our earth has this opportunity to come into this golden age. And our thoughts and feelings are really the determining factor of how quickly it will manifest. So we need to have faith in the plan, which is unfolding now. So I hope you like this, guys. Good.
Hidden in plain sight. This might be the most important video that you ever watch. And I know that it's a big claim, but it's super important, because understanding this concept could determine the fate of the collective of humanity. What I'm about to show you is a couple clips from the movie Tomorrowland, and then explain to you the deeper meaning.
Because tachyons travel faster than light. Once we harness them, You can see backwards in time.
Not just backwards.
You're kidding.
No. I'm afraid the world is ending. It is certain, it is unavoidable, and it is coming.
But it hasn't happened yet.
Actually, it has happened. You just haven't accepted it.
Well, I don't accept it.
You see that?
Okay, first off, spoiler alert. And this is actually super deep. But one of the biggest things to take away from this is that the future is actually just a potential. It is never fully set until it happens. And that the collective consciousness belief of what will happen literally controls what's going to happen. You see, more people believed in the doomsday scenario, and then the probability as shown was 100%. Therefore, when we looked at the future, that's what they saw. And then the girl didn't believe that it was going to happen. And that caused the future potential to flicker into a higher timeline, which is literally exactly how it works in real life. That our combined belief in what will happen literally changes the future. And the dark side knows this. What if this is what's playing out in real life right now? That everywhere you look, things are going wrong. It's all going downhill. We're all doomed. Oh no. This is exactly what they want you to think. Because that literally controls the future. This is why it's so important that if you are just focusing on what's going wrong in the world, to realize that you might actually just be feeding that. Because as Albert Einstein told us, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, just transferred. So your attention is actually energy, and that energy feeds whatever you focus on. And then all of that energy combined from our attention and our focus is called collective energy, or our collective level of consciousness. So you have to start taking your power back. And this starts by first one thing, it's always one thing, awareness. Where is your energy currently going? Because our future is literally determined by you and everyone else combined, and all that you can do is focus on changing yourself. And then when you change yourself, then you share that change with others. And when enough people do this, we all literally change. And then we manifest a different future for humanity. We cannot transcend darkness with more darkness. Only the light can do that.
Very, very well said. All right, so this we know is written across the face of our earth right now, but it is not permanent because, as we're told, if it's not good, it is actually not true. Only that which is good, pure and perfect is true. The rest will all be transmuted. That's why we have this predominant ray at the moment. It's just such a brilliant plan by the Ascended Masters to transmute and literally forgive all these causes of these various things across our face. Selfishness across our beloved planet. We've got selfishness, greed, fear, war, hate, sadness, self-pity, poverty, sickness, anger, blame, profit, division, etc. All those things will have to be gone as we move into the golden age because of the misery on our planet. These cause the misery on our planet, and so we add to the shadows if we focus on them. This was never meant to be, and it has to stop quickly. So there's lots of work to do on our beloved planet, and the quickest way to assist, obviously, is to live daily our lives to the best of our ability, but is to daily make the decrees. So we will have a future session on the decrees, the decrees and the use of the violet flame. I might couple those together, and maybe the protection as well, because it's all those very, very important. Maybe that'll be the next one in 2 weeks' time. But anyway, there's lots of work. And so our calling through the knowledge and power of our own I Am Presence to the Ascended Masters and our own I Am Presence to release the light is what will redeem the planet so quickly. Now begin to listen to it. It's the right use of life. I think that's the one now. Proper use of life's energy by the beloved Mahachohan. You have heard and read of the cosmic source of all life, and have contemplated that source as your I Am presence. You have felt that source surging through you as the breath of life. The Holy Spirit of God is the animating principle of life, and as representative of the Holy Spirit of this earth, I stand as the cosmic dispenser of every atom of electronic energy which fills this universe in cosmic rhythmic waves. There can be no interference with this rhythmic pulsation, for all that lives depends upon the careful and steady release of this life energy through my own body. Man cannot comprehend the tons of cosmic energy which are released into this universe hourly and freely dispensed through the life streams of mankind. This energy is the life of God. It is my joy and responsibility to draw that life and send it forth in rhythmic pulsation through mankind, the nature kingdom, and the planet itself. My concern is to teach man the proper use of this life, in thought, word, and deed, that he may unfold according to his divine plan, as he must render an accounting for his use of life. So I am responsible to the Father of all of the energy that is used on this planet, and I must return it one day in the same purity which the Father gave it to me. You can realize, therefore, how eager and desirous I am to have these Chelas in physical embodiment become conscious co-workers with me in the cosmic powerhouse of the universe. My service is manifold and unlimited, and my gifts without number and without price. I can offer without limit the substance and energy for those who will be constant, ceaseless, peaceful, radiant physical expressions of my life and love. As you attend to your mundane affairs, by your every loving thought and kindly word or deed, you render my service amongst men. When you speak in the name of the Holy Spirit which is within my heart, the life energy of the Father rushes forth to fulfill the God command which you are issuing for the benefaction of the race or any part of life. Drawing light into the four lower bodies. Today we will study the mechanics that govern the inner bodies. Upon contemplation you will realize that the disintegration of the four lower bodies begins to take place from the first uncontrolled thought and feeling that is allowed to break the natural harmony of the vehicles that are provided the incoming life stream. Thus you will see that harmony is a prerequisite to drawing light. There is only one way for man to manifest that state which was enjoyed in the early golden ages, and that is to consciously draw the light into his four lower bodies, and that light will act similar to an electric charger as it flows into each electron, causing it to spin more rapidly in its orbit and gradually accelerating the vibratory rate of the lower garments. If sustained by conscious effort, this will bring the life stream to a state wherein discord and imperfection will no longer register. The purpose of drawing light consciously into one's body is to increase the vibratory action of the electrons by an added charge of power. As each electron spins around the central core of the atom to which it belongs, its increased vibratory action charges the contours of the body and the processes of your thinking and feeling. When this acceleration has taken place to a certain intensity, the slower vibrations of discord, dis-ease, and disintegration can no more attach themselves to the set of vehicles attaining the state of acceleration than a turtle could mounting a speeding car. Before man comes to the place where he may join the gods, he must master the vibrations of his bodies to a point where they do not create dissonance in their own or another's world. If you think before you speak and act before you feel, it will enable the elements of your bodies to return to their original beauty, harmony, and peace. Because as soon as the pressure of discord is consciously controlled, the life stream's natural state begins to establish itself, as the Holy Christ Self returns the electrons to their natural orbits of majesty and harmony. Transmuting impure substance by the beloved Saint Germain. One of the services of the seventh ray, the violet ray, is to help to sublimate and transmute the impure substance drawn into the force fields around the electrons in the emotional, mental, etheric, and physical bodies. Thus, the individual redeems consciously all the energy he has drawn through the ages and used for experimentation. As in a carpenter's workshop, there are many shavings, much sawdust and other residue, which result from his endeavors to produce a form of beauty. So there is in the aura and the world at large much residue which results from experimentation with the tools of creation, feeling, thoughts, spoken words, and actions. The good carpenter not only produces a beautiful piece of furniture, but cleans up his workshop as well. The good, honest Chela, in the process of ascending into his God estate, has the use of the violet fire to clean up the residue of his experimentations with life, while consciously developing his own divine nature. This is balance, spiritual integrity, and mercy to the rest of the universe. Too long have the nature kingdom and the ascended host continued to transmute the residue for mankind. Now he has the way and means of making this personal transmutation of the energies for which he is accountable. At the same time, he thus qualifies to become an ascended being himself. Oops. Oh yeah, such good things to listen to there. So Saint Germain gave us a wonderful meditation in the very first chapter of the very first book, Unveiled Mysteries, and that I actually recorded it, and so it is on the website under meditations. You can find it. It's also on the YouTube and Bitchute channels. So it's just a wonderful meditation because it is exactly as we were told to do there, expand the light within all the cells of our 4 lower bodies. So it's a really good thing to do. So every thought, feeling, word, and action have color and sound, and either add to the light or the shadows of the world. So that's always a lovely thing to think about as well. Everything has color and sound. So it's always good to see everything in a positive situation. So we just see positivity in everything because, as the saying goes, every cloud has a silver lining, and so it is. So we get out of that habit of negative, fearful, critical, blaming, pride, all those kind of lower emotions that come forth. And we just see if we're challenged, we have work to do on ourselves. As we know, it's always like that. The Ascended Masters make this very clear for us. So we become the oil over the troubled water, always polite, in control, considerate, non-judgmental, turning every situation into a positive one. But this does not mean that we don't take a stand for what is true and right. We call for the light. Sometimes we have to take a stand, and this can cause, can cause disruptions. A typical example is Gandhi, where he had to take a stand for the light and bring in the change that was needed in India at the time, and that caused a lot of problems there. But that had to be done. So sometimes we have to stand. It's no good sitting on the fence doing nothing. Same thing. What is it? The one about the evil. If a good man does nothing, evil prevails. So we are the hands, feet, and mouths of the Ascended Masters. They tell us that. But there's always a peaceful way to resolve every situation that we have individually in our lives, I believe. We just have to find it. So the purpose of creation is to unfold a spiritual nature and become master of energy and vibration and expand the kingdom, make the ascension, which we all have to do one day. It is our next evolutionary step. We're not going to be humans forever. We also have to master, as they say, the last enemy to overcome is actually death. We have to master that, but we'll do that at a later stage. So this can only be done through the knowledge and application of qualified light from our own I Am Presence and the ascended hosts. As the old axiom, the light shall set you free, is 100% true, because that's what changes our consciousness and changes the quality of our four lower vehicles, is the light. So that's why it's so important. So our conscious control and use of our own creative faculties of thought and feeling are also prerequisites for our success. So to become such a master presence, the threefold nature of the godparents, love, wisdom, and power, has to be nurtured and developed within everyone. It is within us. It is that threefold flame within our heart, which is the anchorage of our own I Am Presence. And that is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Holy Trinity, which is the love, wisdom, and the power, which we did go into last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago. So it's very important to learn to listen to that still small voice within, because that is our I Am Presence talking to us. And this, I find, is just an ongoing, constant practice, trying always to be conscious of what is actually talking to us within our thoughts and feelings within us. So our beloved I Am Presence is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-loving, and it makes no mistakes, and it is always there. So this is really the development of discernment, which is so important for us. But if it doesn't feel right, then we are breaking those laws, because within us is that sort of monitor, which is really the flame within us. And if we're doing something wrong, if we get to that stage where we listen to that still small voice, we'll get the feeling this is not the right thing. And then we must change it instantly. So we're also not relying on others, as none know the divine plan of another. This is in the human realm. Only in the realm of the ascended masters, where the I Am Presence resides, do they know what is our divine plan and what we've been through, because we never know what other people have been through. So we can never judge, because other people have had many, many lives as we have, and it makes them behave in certain ways. So we become the oil over the troubled water when possible. So we have to be very aware, beware of breaking the first commandment. There are many false gods, fame, status, wealth, lust, etc. And the entities in the psychic and astral realms attempt to lead us astray, because they literally create these kind of entities, the desire for fame, the desire for status, the desire for wealth, lust, etc. It doesn't mean to say we have to be poor. We're not meant to be poor at all, but it mustn't be our God. In other words, it's the breaking of the first commandment, really, where we said, there'll be no other gods before me, which is the great I Am Presence. So we're looking for something outside of ourselves for happiness. And so that's something that we have to constantly work on and just see. So we always need to be alert to what is acting in us. Is it the human or the divine? So this is also, so the divine needs no recognition, no self-aggrandizement or desire for personal power. So it's, for me, it's far safer to be nameless. So know at all times that our I Am Presence is the giver and the doer of all things. And be humble. I remember reading just the other day, it was so lovely that the higher the ascended masters go in their octave, because they're also going up and up as we are, the more humble they become. So the ascended masters' motto is to know, to dare, to do, and to be silent. And whoops, I forgot a comma there, but to know, to dare, to do, and to be silent. In fact, tomorrow we've got the regular Monday, and we're going to start listening to Lady Nada, but it won't be tomorrow, it'll be the following Monday, where we learn of her story of how because she's the goddess of pure divine love, and how she had to be completely nameless in her actions. So we learn to be very behind the scenes in a way. So the great divine director says, that which is invisible to you is the thing which plays the greatest havoc in your world. And it is your power of qualification, because everything which comes into your world must come through you into your world of activity. If your feeling is discordant, then it will carry whatever that discord is into your world and produce of its kind. He says, I tell you, dear ones, no person on the face of this earth who once becomes aware of his I am presence, which beats their hearts, which beats each heart, who will ever give it sincere, earnest attention and call its powers into action, will ever find him or self in need of anything. Individuals will have omnipresent in their worlds for use everything their hearts desire, and there's no exception to it. And honestly, over the many, many years, and obviously I'm still learning so much, but yeah, I'm finding this to be more and more true. It's just the most wonderful thing. The great divine director, as we know, mighty cosmic being he is. And he was the teacher of Saint Germain, beloved Jesus, Kuthumi, Lord Maitreya, and many, many of the Ascended Masters. All right, so this is also a good one to listen to. It's very short, but it is prescribing the future by describing the present with the words I am. So I really think this is very short, but very good.
Anything you say with the words I am, your subconscious will then take that as a command. And so we're constantly programming our subconscious. See, a lot of people think when they're describing the present, well, I'm sick, you know. But the fact is, you're prescribing the future by describing the present as it is. And most people never get that. So this is why the people that live the most effective lives are always acting as if they're in the future and the future's perfect, you know, not waiting to get there.
There it is. Just so true that. It's exactly. So that's why they say never sort of say you're sick or you're this or you're that, whatever it is. Always put it in the kind of context of I am my perfect health, and just, you know, if I am manifesting health, you know, because we actually need to bring it into manifestation if we're not so well. So self-pity, they say, is easily the most destructive of the non-pharmaceutical narcotics. It is addictive, gives momentary pleasure, and separates the victim from the reality. So that's so well explained. So self-pity, Saint Germain says, is one of the most grievous of all the human quality, you know, the human lower frequencies, self-pity. And it's a sneaky one. You have to watch very carefully what's acting in us. So peace on earth is imperative now, and it starts with us. It truly does, because we send out those rays, just as that nuclear physicist was talking about. It's just so important that we maintain that state of peace, because otherwise we're adding to the shadows of the world. And as we're told, so important that our time is really precious, and we need to use it very wisely, because we are accountable for every breath and moment and how we use it. That's why the Ascended Masters, very rarely do things unless there's going to be a very good reason for it. So that's really important for us to remember. Saint Germain says, one becomes that upon which he meditates. And since all things have come forth from the light, light is the supreme perfection and control of all things. So that's really good to meditate on about the light and become the light. And the great divine director said, never meditate in the dark, always put a light on, because the dark forces like to operate in the dark. Like attracts like. Now we're going to listen to this last video, Karma Awaits Redemption. It's not a long one, but it is a good one, I think. This is an excerpt from Electrons and the Elemental Kingdom, compiled from the Bridge to Freedom material by Werner Schroeder. Karma awaits its transmutation by the beloved Mahachohan. As there is provided for every life intelligence belonging to our universe 100,000 times more electronic substance than such a one could possibly invoke and transform, there is no possibility of the response of the universal light being limited when the magnetic invocative powers of consciousness go into motion in the fourth dimension. You will see then that in the course of the several million years during which man's consciousness has been functioning, how very much of the universal light clothed in garments of each one's making awaits redemption in the world of form, and it points to the necessity and responsibility of each individual to continually devote conscious application to the purifying, freedom, resurrection, and ascension of each such electronic particle, which through the doors of his thought and feeling left the realm of innocence, and remains as a blanket of imperfect vibration which circles this recalcitrant star. Even with all the grants and dispensations which have been given to the Chela, removing much of the misqualified energy he has sent forth through the ages, he must be ever alert, for he never knows when some untransmuted karma will be placed on his path for redemption. When the Chela wonders why he does not have manifest some particular good which he has been calling for, let him remember that there is some obstacle in his life stream which he has created of his own free will, which requires transmutation. Let us turn our attention to the great reservoir of universal light. This mighty fount is unformed, just like containers filled with gold or bolts or cloth. The individual ion presence of each life stream draws the unformed at will, for God will never deny the presence of any life stream. As soon as the energy is accepted by the individual presence, the responsibility of what is to be done with that energy is vested in the life stream, and that unformed energy is marked with the stamp, the electronic pattern of that one's individual identity, just as a trademark is placed on worldly goods. Every presence has a different pattern, so as to cause no confusion with the inner records of the universal law, and of all the souls belonging to the human race, no two are alike. The energy drawn from the universal, which, mind you, is a voluntary thing, is stamped with your pattern. It then comes down into the use of the human personality, who dispenses that energy freely in thought, word, and feeling. The personal self does not see that energy, nor the mark of ownership upon it, and feels that it can send that forth indiscriminately, without rendering an account thereof. However, every thought form, every feeling form, every activity of the outer self carries that stamp which undeniably identifies the energy with the person who drew it forth, qualified it, and expanded it. This moves in a circle and returns to its source for redemption, bringing with it more of its kind. If it went forth for a good purpose and harmoniously, it brings back its like, and vice versa. Blessed is the individual who sends forth his energy qualified with good, for on the return current shall his world be filled with the gifts which are of heaven's realms. Oh, it's just so well explained by the beloved Mahachohan. So cosmic law, so planets must emit light to maintain their position in a planetary scheme. So the Earth was not emitting light, as I think a lot of us have already know this by now, but the Earth was not emitting light millions of years ago. And that was when the great Sanat Kumara came 4.5 million years ago from Venus and offered to emit the light that the people of the Earth were not emitting at that time in order for it to maintain its position in the solar system. God bless his holy name forever. And he's just not well known on this planet yet. He's known as Ancient of Days in the Old Testament because it is truly Ancient of Days. God bless his heart. So the Earth was not emitting light because of the way the people behaved. So that's why it's so important for all of us to be constantly aware of what we are doing and what we are adding to, whether we're adding to the light or we're adding to the shadows of our beloved Earth, because it is now Saint Germain's responsibility to bring our Earth into her new golden age. And so he is relying on Chelas, relying on those that know and understand the laws of life to continually use the energy that we get from our iron presence constructively. And so that requires discernment and constant vigilance, isn't it? We have lots of work to do. So the solution is at hand and a divine plan is unfolding in divine order. And adding to the collective consciousness of victory, positivity, and joyful expectation is essential. So we don't want to get into that kind of soggy stuff where we're thinking, oh, what's happening? We need to be expecting a mighty victory on our beloved earth, knowing without doubt that the light is supreme and is in command of everything. And it is too, as we know. Whoops, sorry, I don't know.
Hidden.
Sorry, I've got to put that in twice. So the Mahachohan says, to change the consciousness of mankind, we must utilize the sacred fire. And how does that come? Through our call for the decrees. We decree, we call to the Iron Presence and the Ascended Masters to release those light rays. And then they go out and they literally do their perfect work. That conscious and intelligent light goes out and changes the consciousness of mankind and changes wrong conditions into right conditions. It changes the frequency, just like that. So understanding the use of light, we will do more about this at a later session, but sacred fire is qualified light. It's conscious and intelligent. So it's qualified with an ability. So it's our responsibility and obligation once we receive this knowledge to use it. We call for what we need through the power and authority of our Iron Presence, because that is the most important thing that Saint Germain has really brought now from the 1930s onwards, was the understanding of our own individual I Am Presence, that God presence above and within us. And through that, we can get to the stage of love and peace, illumination, healing, guidance, and supply. That all comes from the light. The light is what does it all. And it's directed by our own Iron Presence, but we need to call it into action. And for ourselves and all humanity, always, not just for ourselves. So this is the last slide, I think, before we finish. But I am, there are no two words in the vocabulary of human experience which release the power those two words do. The words God, divine mind, divinity, and all other terminology used to express the Godhead do not contain the power the words I am do. We went quite a lot of depth of this in the first session about, what was that? Anyway, it was two sessions ago, because the word I am, the name I am, comes from our Father, Mother, God, Alpha and Omega, from the great central sun, the head of the system of our universe. So that's where it comes from, and it has been used right back from the beginning of time. I am, that sound, I am. Yeah, just happens to be in the English language at the moment, which I believe is the most prevalent language used. That's probably why it was designed like that, because everybody has to eventually get to know that the power of those words. Okay, so when people first hear of this Ascended Master instruction, many want to fit in their existing beliefs, concepts, category of thinking, and all the various things that they have read and studied into it. In this way, their consciousness warps and perverts it into their orthodox concepts or preconceived ideas. But this is from Alice Schultz, who was the secretary to both the I Am and the British Freedom Cheetahs. And they say, but this is the opposite of what is actually needed. So there's thousands of pages which came through the visible light and sound ray from the Ascended Masters. There was no channeling. It was literally came through. They could hear it and they wrote it down. So there was no mistakes. So that's why it's good to read the books and learn. So our freedom comes from our own dedication, constancy, and discipline. So we need to never miss a day of doing our decrees and our meditation morning and evening, because the light rises and goes back to source, because like attracts like. It's happy in its own octave. So there's no other way to free ourselves from the bondage of our own creations. The proof is we're still here and we've had thousands of lifetimes. So now we need to use this information. All right, I think this is the last one. Sorry, I thought that other one was last. So it gives me pleasure to point out, this is from beloved Lord Gautama Buddha. He says, it gives me pleasure to point out that obedience is the key to your conscious control of substance and form. And so that we need to think about deeply. So what is obedience? Obedience to the laws that govern our lives, to that still small voice within, truly. So nothing changes if we do not do things differently. That's also a good thing to remember. All right, so this is the closing invocation. So Jeff, I don't know whether you, no, I think Jeff actually had to leave. All right, so Elvira, beloved, are you able, do you have a screen? Would you like to read the closing invocation?
Sure, I will.
Thank you.
Beloved, I am presence, and beloved Master Kutumi, nourish and seeds planted in my consciousness so that the ideas entrusted to me become manifest flowers of perfect expression in my word and the word of all my fellow men. Beloved presence of God, I am. Pour the light of thy great glory upon my consciousness and nourish the seeds planted by the masters. We thank you.
Lovely. Bless your heart. And thank you. And thank beloved Kathumi. Yeah. So that's lovely, everybody. Just to finish off with just a moment of deep gratitude for our opportunity we have to serve the light, to have these wonderful teachings, and for our beautiful beloved earth. And we need to always remember to keep positivity really at the forefront of our thoughts and feelings and actions. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording. And then if you